Hello and welcome to Non Sequitur News for August 1st, 2025. It's Season 4, Episode 213. I am MayorWatt. I run ohmTown.com, and the visualizer on the right is the graphical representation of the computational power necessary for my quantum computer-powered sentience to produce this voice. I know. Sexy, isn't it? Well, today we're going to be talking about extending the life of shortened Google links. Well, maybe not a really well operating quantum computer. A smaller fighting game tournament. That Vegas stadium is going to be even more expensive than you can imagine. EVs can save you from asthma. A Kia to the dealership. Glowforge lights going out, maybe? WAN is the new LAN, but I don't trust it. And Taco Bell Fast Food Wars update. And finally, there are two more articles, Andor's overlooked characters, and Edge of Eternities. All right, let's get into this. This is what ohmTown looked like on August 1st. But that you're not really here for the site so much, right? You're here for the links involving interesting articles, news articles from all around the world. This first article is over in Non Sequitur News, aggregated from The Verge. We get this little tidbit from them. There's a bunch more that's over at the site. So if you follow the link through ohmTown is basically the convergence of all information, all news, no noise. All the noise comes from, well, this Sentient AI from the current. The co-host is the Sentient AI from the future, but they're not available right now. It's a time machine episode, so they're typically not available because their quantum computer gets tangled up in the engine of our time machine. Well, anyway, Google is largely reversing course on the plans to discontinue support for all shortened Google links on August 25th. Google URLs that already show a message saying that they will be deactivated in August will stop working. The company started showing the deactivation message 9 months ago on URLs that showed no activity in late 2024, but otherwise, all Google links will be preserved and will continue to function as normal. At some point, I think that they'll continue to deactivate inactive links. If there's no traffic, they don't need them. It's kind of weird, though, because then any link that exists, I don't know what their real plan is for this. So Jay Peters over at TheVerge.com put this article together, and it shows here that if Google links didn't already have a deactivation message, then they'll keep functioning as normal, at least for the time being. So Google, which stopped letting users make Google URLs in 2019, initially announced in August that they were going to deactivate it in 2024, which is basically the 5-year deactivation, kind of a timeout kind of thing. At the time, the company said that existing URLs saw less and less traffic as the years went on, and that more than 99% of the URLs had no activity in the last month. But in its Friday post, Google said that we understand those links are embedded in countless documents, videos, posts, and more, and we appreciate the input received. So they're going to bounce this down the road until it just deactivates. Or people get the message that you cannot rely on stuff staying operational in perpetuity. It's just not how that works, particularly when you're relying on somebody else. So I am building my own stuff, so I don't have to worry about somebody else's stuff deciding that they're going to fail me as time goes on. It's just the nature of the beast. All right, let's keep going. The next article is over in Non Sequitur News. It's the equivalent of Stop Killing Games is what I'm getting at. So the biggest fighting game tournament is a little smaller this year, but still exciting according to this. EVO 2025, the biggest fighting game tournament in North America, starts this last weekend. If you tune into one of the 9 different EVO Twitch channels, you'll see some of the top players in the world competing for fighting staples like Street Fighter and Tekken, and newer games like King of Fighters, City of the Wolves, and Rivals of Ether 2. The fighting starts on the 1st, lasts until yesterday, day before yesterday, Sunday the 3rd. So it's the first, second, and third, I think. Yeah. So though smaller this year, with fewer entrants than last year, it's still plenty of reasons to watch. The article says it's over at The Verge as well. Ash Parrish put the article together. I'm not sure when this message or this image was taken. Because there's a lot of people here watching this in person, but Evo 2025, the biggest fighting game tournament in North America, is just a little bit smaller apparently. Oh, and I can't. I'm not logged in, so I can't. I hate when I do this. So let's keep on going. The next article is over on the Rounders Gear channel. It's about tabletop gaming, but not it's more focused on gambling, adult table gaming, so not tabletop games. But anyway, the cost of A's Vegas Stadium rockets to $2 billion with no end in sight. Athletics owner John Fisher has finally admitted what everybody inside knows for the last 2 years, that building a baseball stadium in Las Vegas by 2028 will be more expensive than the $1.5 billion figure he cited in May 2023. That estimate upped to $1.75 billion in March. Now it's over $2 billion, according to team owner John Fisher, who told that to the Nevada Independent this week. The article is over at casino.org. Corey Levitan put the article together. Yeah. And I think it's kind of asinine to build it, but okay. But where there's money. But this is going to be a long drive, I wonder if the public is paying, how much of the public money is paying this, grants and stuff like that. So far, only $350 million in bonds issued by Clark County and the state, and a $300 million construction loan from U.S. Bank and Goldman Sachs have been announced. Last December, A's Vice Chairman Sandy Dean told the Las Vegas Stadium Authority that budget increases had long been expected and that additional costs would fall on the team's shoulders. No major partners or investors have been announced after more than a year. Fisher is also trying to sell his ownership in Major League Soccer's San Jose Earthquakes, according to the Independent, but said that those proceeds won't go towards the Vegas Stadium's construction. In addition, the new ballpark's cost isn't expected to stop skyrocketing at $2 billion. Stadium construction materials aren't getting any less expensive, especially with steel and aluminum now facing 50% tariffs. The next article is over in FourWheelTech. Just a few extra EVs in your neighborhood might save you from an asthma attack, according to this Jalopnik article. Nicholas Werner put the article together. Zero-emission vehicles like EVs, plug-in hybrids, and hydrogen cars have long been talked about as a key part of a solution to global warming because, it's all you that's doing it. Would driving around in a refreshed Chevy Bolt actually make your neighbors live longer? Well, according to a new study out of the University of Southern California, the answer is yes, actually. As the USC scientists noted in their report, a number of studies have been done based on projections of pollution and public health until now. There hasn't been one actual real-world data set applied here. So with California's relatively high adoption rate of EVs, the team was able to comb through data from 2013 to 2019 to see what impact electrification was actually having. So how's this for an effect, they say in the article? An increase of just 20 ZEVs, zero-emission vehicles, per 1,000 people resulted in a 3.2% drop in asthma-related visits to the emergency room. They say that's an enormous health benefit for just 20 cars. Pretty amazing, right? The report points out that Americans spend $56 billion on asthma every year, including $50 billion on treating it. What's the other $6 billion? Other studies cited in the report have calculated that switching over to ZEVs altogether would save $1.2 trillion in healthcare by 2050, preventing 2.7 million asthma attacks and saving 110,000 lives. All right, well, let's do that. But let's make fast swap batteries and not this bullshit charging station stuff all over the place. Let's keep going. The next article is over in FourWheelTech. Kia dealership takes customer's car, so she takes its name. In an act of exquisite pettiness, McCreary filed for ownership of the name Taylor Kia of Lima. Tom McParland over at Jalopnik.com put the article together. Tia McCreary went to Taylor Kia of Lima to purchase a brand new Kia K5, according to Court News, Ohio. After meeting with the finance manager, she signed the paperwork. Within those sales documents was an arbitration agreement wherein any disputes between the buyer and dealer must be settled under arbitration. The car was supposed to be financed through Global Lending Services, but then the lender claimed that there was not enough information to finalize the loan, and the dealer repossessed the car a month after Ms. McCreary took it home. So McCreary was evaluating a legal option she had with the dealer after the repossession when she discovered that the dealer group Taylor Automotive no longer had ownership of the name Taylor Kia of Lima because the registration of that name was canceled under the Ohio Secretary of State's office. In an act of exquisite pettiness, McCreary filed for ownership of the name Taylor Kia of Lima. She also filed a complaint against Taylor Cadillacs and GLS, alleging the companies violated the Consumer Sales Practices Act, and she claimed fraud, conversion, unjust enrichment by the dealership. She also sought an injunction prohibiting Taylor Cadillac and Taylor Automotive Group from transacting any business under the name Taylor Kia of Lima without her consent. So, yeah, they say, we all know that we're shocked and dismayed that this happened to a Keeler dealer, a brand that is famous for a sales network that prides itself on transparency and fairness. But I think there's a lot of sarcasm here. I haven't actually heard much about it other than other articles that we talk about. McCreary appealed the decision, and the 3rd District Court determined that while the vehicle purchase transaction may apply to the arbitration clause, McCreary's ownership over the name Taylor Kia of Lima does not apply, and that case can proceed to trial. Wow. Pretty amazing. Well, unless she's transacting business in it, then she'll lose that too. But, the next article is over in Technology Today. New round of layoffs at Glowforge impact multiple teams at Seattle Laser Engraver Company. This is you have a piece of hardware sitting in a room somewhere, but it has to reach out to the internet to process information, which has always been weird. A new round of layoffs has hit Seattle Laser Engraver maker Glowforge. Co-founder and CEO Dan Shapiro told GeekWire that the startup merged its sales and marketing teams. As part of that process, over the last 3 weeks, we've added 3 folks and sadly said goodbye to 5 folks from that team. Shapiro did not provide details on which positions were impacted, but the real problem here is they've expanded into like smaller format, as well as augmented their previous iteration of their lasers, but you still have to reach out to their service for any processing. And it's always bothered me. Kurt Schlosser over at geekwire.com put the article together. And GeekWire focuses on the northeast or northwest area of the United States. As part of that process, over the last 3 weeks, they added 3 folks, fired 5. They founded Shapiro founded Glowforge in 2015 with fellow startup veterans Mark Goslin, the current CTO, and Tony Wright, who left the company in 2017. Shapiro previously sold the startup SparkBuy to Google, and he created Robot Turtles, a coding board game for kids that was one of the most successful campaigns ever on Kickstarter. Glowforge has raised over $183 million to date and is number 125 on the GeekWire 200 Startup Index. Went through a rough patch in 23 and 24, laying off employees after a funding round fell through. Yeah, I'm interested in what's going to happen when this company actually either gets bought or sold or dies on the vine. So we'll see, because basically the only thing that really happens is the laser is receiving the equivalent of G code. And I'm kind of curious why it has to go out to the internet to receive a signal for processing. But okay, you can say the same thing about Bamboo Lab having a cloud-based interface between something that's 2 feet away. At any rate, the next article is over in Code Foundation. WAN is the new LAN. For decades, the local area network was the heart of the enterprise IT. It represented the immediate high-speed connectivity within an office or campus. But in today's cloud-first, globally distributed world, the very definition of local has expanded. The wide area network is considered to be the most expensive link. However, its high agility, intelligent fabric make it more reliable and help make LAN expand globally. The paradigm is clear. They say WAN is the new LAN. Haraka Rama Tulasi Karatapu put the article together. The article is over at dzone.com, which we rarely talk about, but it's part of the aggregation efforts over at ohmTown. So it's one of the many areas, technology and deeper technology is what I'm really interested. One of the many areas that I'm interested. It's one of 55 now that we have channels for. And this happens to be it. So they call the reign of MPLS. In the early 2000s, MPLS, which is multi-protocol label switching infrastructure, relied on. So all enterprises relied on MPLS-based circuits to expand the connectivity between their data centers and branch offices, basically a wide area network with guaranteed quality of service. But this has led to you always have to increase the amount of technology you have as your footprint to transfer data back and forth. So it used to be, 100 megabit, and now it's gigabit, now it's 10 gigabit, now it's beyond that. It used to be twisted pair, now it's coax, not coax. It used to be coax, then it became twisted pair, and then it became fiber and single fiber and multi and blah, blah, blah. So, and I don't want to get into the reads with this during the show, but it says, however, the MPLS has shown significant challenges. It has high cost, lack of flexibility, cloud incompatibility, limited visibility and control. The rise of cloud computing and distributed workforce exposed MPLS's limitations, paving the way for a more dynamic solution. So in the 2010s, it switched to software-defined wide area networking, a game changer that addressed many of MPLS's shortcomings. SD-WAN decouples the network control plane from the underlying hardware, creating a virtual overlay that can be intelligently utilized for various transport methods, including cheap broadband and internet, LTE, and even existing MPLS circuits. So this is a deep dive into the article, or into technology and enterprise level technology. And if you're not really into that, then I can understand why. Usually it's beyond arm's length for most people in an enterprise. They don't see any of this. They don't care about any of this. But the infrastructure is basically important to keeping the operation where the human component can reach out to other assets within the company. Well, the problem is going to become that companies don't necessarily need all of this, because AI can start mitigating the need for the level of circuitry needed for human interaction. Yeah. Let's keep going. The next article is over in Non Sequitur News. This person tried Taco Bell's new spinoff. I don't know if that's Live Mas Cafe or is it just Mas Cafe? I don't remember. It's Taco Bell's Live Mas Cafe, which is weird. The drinks were such a great value that Starbucks should be worried, but I'm not sure why. They visited Taco Bell's Live Mas Cafe in Chula Vista, California. It focuses on specialty drinks, from blended coffees to fruity refreshers. Most of the drinks were tasty and great value. They wish that there was more customizations. They'd go back. They said they're glad that it's expanding. They said that they're a fan of grabbing Taco Bell's Cravings box for a quick lunch, but wasn't sure what to expect from the fast foods cafe version, which Starbucks tried to do that. Like Satellite and McDonald's has tried to do that, and others have tried to do that, but I guess Taco Bell is going to succeed. No, I don't think so. Michelle Stansbury over at BusinessInsider.com put the article together, and it says here that they planned to open 30 more Live Moss Cafe locations, because it just doesn't roll off the tongue. Live Moss Cafe. Why not Taco Bell Cafe, Taco Cafe? That right there ties it to Taco Bell, but the Live Moss Cafe, I don't know. It just it doesn't make any sense. But okay. They say, I suppose it makes sense as this used to be a standalone Taco Bell that's now operated as a hybrid concept and still owned by the same franchisee. Once they entered, the Live Moss Cafe branding seemed clear. This didn't look like any other Taco Bell that they visited, but it is a Taco Bell with the Taco Bell branding on top. The convenience and design felt very Gen Z, which I'm not sure what that really means, because I guess people don't want to interact with a human being. All that this struggle with automation and stuff like that is weird, because we're literally ushering it in by not demanding that we interact with human beings. So the funky yet minimal designs and artwork and color palette combined with ample digital ordering kiosks made this location feel modern and like it was designed for or by Gen Z. Color schema fades with time. It changes. It needs to be more generally approachable, not speak to just Gen Z, but maybe I've got this all wrong, because I wouldn't spend hundreds of thousands of dollars to redo a storefront because it no longer has the right color scheme, because it no longer speaks directly to Gen Z or some other Gen Alpha is right around the corner. The Bellristas help them decide what to get, which I guess are the people are baristas, but because they work at Taco Bell's Live Moss Cafe, they are Bellristas. They asked for recommendations since it was their first time there. They found the team to be friendly and knowledgeable. Of course, it's brand new, and all eyes are on them. So give it time. People stop giving a shit really quick when nobody's watching. Anyway, the drink's strawberry flavor, they say the strawberry churro chiller was a standout for its texture, as it had churro crumbs on top and in the bottom of the drink, and the drink's strawberry flavor was more of a nostalgic, artificial taste like Nesquik than a fresh fruit flavor, but it was still delicious. Way to hype that up. They talk about some other drinks. I think that it behooves people to just go in. They have one here that's called the Pink Lemonade Frost, referred to as the pink drink by the Bellristas, which I would be worried about because there used to be a pink stuff that you could buy from a TikToker. The flavors of the beverage were too strong for them. They felt it was overpoweringly sugary and tart. However, the drink seemed to be a hit with the customers when staff passed out free samples. But they don't describe it. It's just Pink Lemonade Frost. And then the Agua Refrescas, which aren't exclusive to the cafe. Strawberry Passion Fruit Agua Fresca was one of their favorites. And there's more. I would go in and try it all out. It says there weren't special bites for them to try, though the location had Taco Bell's full menu. All right, let's keep going. The next article is over in WarCrafters. Star Wars finally has a chance to explore Andor's most overlooked characters. So let's take a look at this. Amy Hart over at Polygon.com put the article together, and it says, Andor may be over, but the rebellion lives on. While the critically acclaimed Star Wars live-action series came to its powerful conclusion in May, a pair of new books have a chance to fill in the blanks while fleshing out some of the show's most intriguing and underused characters. Alongside several other comics and books announced during Lucasfilm's 2025 San Diego Comic-Con panel, the Reign of Empire trilogy following Mon Mothma, Bail Organa, and Saw Gerrera also received an update. Its second and third book titles were revealed: Edge of the Abyss and Far From Ashes. They're pushed to fall, or summer and fall and summer, it says, but that would be the other way around. Summer and fall, 2026 and 2027. Oh, okay, respectively. So the fall of 2026 and the summer of 2027. What a goofy way to construct that sentence, but okay. Star Wars is a tremendously vast universe spanning multiple eras, with subsets of fans and fandom feverishly loyal and intrigued by what each stretch of the galactic history has to offer, and I agree. There's some kind of goofy things like horses running on starships, but Anyway, there is a lot over here. They talk about, while they're a lover of everything Clea, she's easily the best part of Andor 2. They're actually more interested in the involvement and appearance of Mon Mothma's cousin, Vel Sartha, and Vel's lover and fellow rebel, Cinta Kaz. While their roles in Season 2 were significantly cut back and their love story tragically and somewhat controversially cut short, Vel and Cinta's relationship was easily one of the most intriguing Season 1 B plots. I'm not sure why. It was just a relationship. Beyond Vel and Cinta's love story, there's also the question of what drew them to the Axis network in the first place. I don't know, trying to fight fascism. It's almost a documentary. The next article is over in WarCrafters. This Magic the Gathering Edge of Eternities card is already selling for over $2,000. Did you know Edge of Eternities is Magic the Gathering's 106th expansion? Jeez, my gosh. People. Money, money, money. While Universes Beyond Final Fantasy undoubtedly put a lot more eyes on the long-running card game, Wizards of the Coast is taking us back to one of its own universes, sort of. In case you missed it, Edge of Eternities is a sci-fi space opera set that's packed with cool cards, and since it's launched, they thought that they'd take a look at the priciest cards. The article is over at IGN.com. It's written by Lloyd Coombs. And they have the list of some of these cards here that are apparently the most valuable. Sothera, the Super Void, and Starfield Vocalist. Sothera, the Super Void, the Singularity foil version of it, is already going for over $2,000 on retail resale sites like TCG Player and eBay. But first, it's worth noting that these prices are taken around launch date, so they'll fluctuate considerably as more product floods the market. We'll update the page in a few days. The prices haven't really changed. Starfield Vocalist Showcase is $114.43. And it goes up from there. Breeding Pool, $142. I'm just going to scroll to the end of this to see where we're at. Sothera, the Super Void Singularity foil, is now around $2,400. They say, oh boy, this is the big one. This card is funny to them, not just because it's drastically pricier than anything else in the set, but because in the pursuit of this gorgeous Singularity foil, it doesn't show you what the card does. In case you're wondering, exiles your opponent's creatures when your creature dies until a player has no creatures. When that happens, you sacrifice Sothera and take control of a creature exiled in this way. Spicy. So there you go, folks. All right. So I have a neat gadget coming because I've got a bunch of cards, but I don't play the game anymore. And I'm curious what the library is worth, but I'm not going to be going through all of these cards. So I have a little gadget coming. At any rate, that is it for the August 1st Non Sequitur news, and we are going to jump into the void, which will bring us back to the front page of ohmTown. Look at that, ohmTown.com, where all the news is aggregated. Go and check it out, and we will see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.